Welcome. Sumedha is a non-profit organization dedicated to preserving the rich and varied culture of Parashurama Kshetra and helping people in need. Visit sumedhaonline.org for more information.
Now we have these three shapes that we need to join from two different pieces of wood. So what we do is we take a dowel. You can also get ready-made, small dowels of fixed size from Home Depot or Lowe's. In this case, we are making one out of a longer stick. So we find something that is the same size as the drill bit. So we find a piece of wood that is the same size as the drill bit, and we cut it into lengths for which we drill holes in the wood on both sides, so we can just put that in. So here's a hole that's been drilled. We put the dowel in, and on the other side we have a similar hole, so we can slide it into the hole. And this is what keeps it from moving back and forth, so you won't have a gap when the wood warps. That typically happens when it gets old. You want to use a little bit of glue before you push it together. So we try if it goes in, and sometimes if the dowel is a tight fit, you want to put the glue in before you try, otherwise you may find it hard to separate out again. So you fill in glue in the holes, put in the dowel, then you put glue to the edges, and then you snap it together and press it. Once you've pressed it, you turn it over, and on the back side we will add some more reinforcements. We get something called a mending plate, and this can hold two pieces of wood together. So here's a mending plate. It's got nail kind of edges on one end, and the other side is flat. So the nail kind of edges go towards the wood, so you hammer it in, and that's what holds it together. The mending plates can bend, so you have to hammer it in a little bit carefully. If you hit on only one side, then it'll bend, and it won't be a tight fit. So we have to hammer it in slowly, so it's going in little by little. When you hammer it in, the glue may come out on the other side, so you'll have to do a little bit of cleanup. And once it's hammered in, there will still be a little bit of, it won't stay flat because only one side has the mending plate, and we cannot put it on the other side because it won't look good. So in order to make sure that the wood is straight, we need to put a piece of weight on it in whichever direction it's not proper, and keep it flat, put a weight on it, and let it be flat until it dries. Once the glue dries, you have a flat surface and you have a good joint there. We will use wood screws for assembly. Mark the pieces and drill holes that are slightly smaller than the screw diameter. This example shows how to assemble the back piece to the side piece. The wood screws will then be screwed into the pre-drilled holes. Without pre-drilling, it may be hard to drive in the screws, and the pressure may split the wood. Screw in the wood screw into the first piece until the sharp end of the screw emerges from the other end. Then press the sharp end into the pre-drilled hole of the other piece and tighten. You may need someone to assist in holding the pieces together. You will want to tighten the screw so that the head goes inside the wood surface. If it's a hardwood that you're using, then make sure to remove a little bit of wood to allow the head to go in properly. Now let's assemble the shelving to the sides. So the steps that we have here are the shelves, and you want to transfer from paper to the actual wood. Once you make all the markings, then we can start assembling. Note that we have a join line here where we have two separate pieces of wood, but we did not use a mending plate because it has thickness, and you would see a gap if you use that on the inside. You could, however, use it in a place where it does not interfere. That's up to you. We will show you how to join the two pieces without a mending strip, because the shelving can hold uh, both these pieces together. We started off by putting extra supports where there's no shelves. So we have to add these supports anyway, and they don't have a fixed place. So we could just go in and put it any way we want as long as it doesn't interfere. Note that the support in the back is halfway between the two pieces of wood. That way, when you screw the wood into it, it'll hold the two pieces together. Once we have the supports, we start adding the shelving as per the markings. So here's one piece that has been added. Here's the finished top part, and here we show how the screws are put in and how they are flush with the wood surface, or a little bit inside actually, so that you can fill it and make it look flat. Each of the screws in into one of the shelves, and you can add a little bit of glue if you want. That will make it a permanent bond. In this design, one of the vertical pieces of wood for the shelves is the one that holds the other side of the two pieces, just like we did on the back, and you can see that coming out here. Next, we place the bottom part the way it should fit, and we make markings to drill the hole. Once we drill the hole, we can put the screw in, and we've assembled both parts together. Here we've shown some tips on how to make markings. You can of course just try to do it by looking at it, but if you want accurate markings, you can use some of these techniques. From this side. Next, you assemble the base that just goes on the bottom, and you can use screws to attach it to the whole Peetha. Next, you can add the pillar kind of things that we have. The one on the front can be screwed in, horizontally, and the ones on the back, you can screw it from underneath. You can do the same on the front as well. Attaching the legs is as simple as drilling a hole and screwing it in. Sometimes you can get a metal plate that goes on one side, so you can hammer that in, and then you can screw the leg in too.